Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle book review of Fantastic Four Omnibus, Volume 5. Now, this is Thomas, Conway, Buscema, Buckler, and of course, many others as well. 1,008 pages in total. Obviously, fully colour throughout. See some of the back pages, of course, there's some extras. As ever, they put all the covers on the back. You can see the complete load of comics there. Some really great issues all the way through there. And you can see, of course, the listing saying it's Fantastic Four 126 to 163, Giant Size Superstars 1, Giant Size Fantastic Four 2 to 4, I should say, and Avengers 127. Now this is Volume 5, 1,008 pages, came out in November 2024. Been slightly slow picking this one up because I've really wanted this for a long time. Completely missed that it was actually finally out. So let's just go through the book. Now, I paid about £70 for this. I think it was about that, sort of £69. You probably can find it slightly cheaper, maybe slightly more online, as well as, of course, in various bookshops. So let's just go through it. As usual, hardback, brilliant book from Marvel as ever. I love these omnibuses. Now, of course, it's coloured in a particular way. Not everyone loves the coloured effect that they've created, obviously compared with the original comics, or the epics, of course. Now, the epic, I've just put that on sale. So I don't want to keep both, so I've decluttered that one. So this one, now I've got the omnibus. Well, I'm really pleased to finally get this. Now, whether I get Volume 6, I probably will. I'm looking forward to Volume 6. I'll think about it when it comes out. And I believe it's coming out in June. So there's all the various people involved and all the pencilers, inkers, finishers, writers, obviously, colorists, as well as editors. And you can see there all the various details about restoration as well. This is by All Thumbs Creative and Dale Crane and Sheila Johnson. Here's the list of all the comics. Now, the period of comics, this was 1972. This was the time when I started collecting Marvel fairly seriously. Now, I'd bought Marvel comics before that, probably back in 67, 68, but I can't particularly remember the issues. But with this one, Fantastic Four 132 was the first issue that I really recall picking up. So I'm just going to show that one. That came out in March 1973, and I loved Marvel from that point. And you got there all the way through to 1975, issue 163. It's got an introduction there, Roy Thomas. Now, whether these ones, sometimes these introductions are different periods. So you can see there, 2009. That is one criticism I always have with these omnibuses. I would love to see a fresh introduction as well as, of course, the old essays that are included or intros included. Got there 126, and it's got an absolute, of course, classic cover. That's obviously the original cover. Well, obviously a variation, I should say, of the original cover. Obviously the monster breaking through there. You didn't see Mole Man or anything, but this is the creature from the Earth's core, and you got there the way it began. Of course, you got initially Dr. Doom there, but of course, in its illusion, and of course, Thing flies through, and of course, he's been projected by Reed Richards. How confusing is that? But of course, you see there how the Thing changed. And of course, got there, you can see the thing that we see later. Obviously, the Thing changed probably even more over the years. And you can see him obviously projecting there, and you've got the origin there with the characters after the cosmic ray radiation that they'd gone through. They've all changed. We are more than just human. And of course, then they become the Fantastic Four. So we're on to the first story, the Mole Man story. You got there, origin of Mole Man and everything. He gives an explanation of what happened there. And of course, he falls through, disappears, and he often did that. He always escaped to return yet again. And of course, you've got this character here as well. And also, of course, other characters turn up as he goes through. Divided we fall, as it says there. Death in a dark and lonely place. And it's got this character, and I'm just going to, yes, there he is. Never met Tyrannus, isn't he? That was it. Tyrannus, good old Tyrannus. And of course, now, didn't she, I think she was Iron Man villain, I believe. I don't know. Anyway, got this lovely up there, Frightful Four. Of course, the Frightful Four turned up in issue 129, 130, etc. And of course, you've also got Thunderer coming up as well. And you've got the Black Bolt there. And as always, of course, a letter page. I love letter pages, always good. As well as a special pulsating announcement, it says there. This is by Doubtless You've Seen and Saved, the 4-page full-colour bonus section, including this issue. Really good. Marvel was recently forced by ever-spiraling printing costs to raise the cover price of its mags to 20 cents. I remember that when they were going up. One time they were 5 pence, then 6 pence, and then, of course, shoom, and another little introduction there. So on to the next one. I wish they wouldn't put these. I don't know why they couldn't put maybe some sort of like ads or some other information, pictures. They always put big 4. Surely there must be more material that they could put to cover that. Here it is, 129. And I did get these issues after the date. I've obviously bought issue 132, and these ones, quite often at the time, comics sort of turned up in weird ways in my town. You used to sort of go along, and suddenly a pile of issue 129, 128 would suddenly turn up, or even issue 108 just turned up randomly in a newsagents, and you think, okay, I will pick those up as well. And this is Frightful 4. I loved the Frightful 4. They were great. It's got Thunder, of course, the character. The artwork was fine. I mean, who's the artist was, in this case, John Buscema. Now, there's Rich Buckler as well turned up as well throughout this, and also Joe Sinnott was also doing some of the work as well. So you got there, of course, the Wizard there, and the Sandman, and the Trapster, or Paste Pot Pete, as he always will be. And you got this classic there, Battleground, the Baxter Building, and Thunderer. Of course, you got that. I love the way she's holding that, sort of throwing that, and of course, Medusa now clearly, obviously not part of the Frightful 4. She's obviously trapped there by the Trapster. After all, Grimm wasn't a pushover, as he says. And of course, things go, of course, all over the place. There's a battle there. There's obviously Reed Richards gets ripped. It's quite good that the Thing can pull this off, obviously, without hardly any difficulty. Not a great glue, obviously, clearly in this case. Also, the next story was a brilliant one, the Inhumans one, and we finally find out about Quicksilver and Crystal, and of course the Torch finds out that his girlfriend has been with Quicksilver. Things obviously slightly changed there, and you've got the Sentinels that turns up as well. Great bit of storyline. That's the Quicksilver obviously escaping there, and of course the Inhumans. You've got the Inhumans story of Black Bolt. I really enjoyed that one, and that continues on a bit later as well. You get to about issue 150, the anniversary issue. And here it is, the issue that I got. I love this one, issue 132. Just absolutely brilliant story, and I was hooked. Absolutely hooked as soon as I saw that. Just a great one. And of course, it was followed by an absolute classic in the next issue, and that's Thunderer at Dawn. You got the Fantastic Four. I just love that sort of Happy New Year one. Growing families, it says there. And you've got obviously all the characters there walking through, slightly looking a bit down, but Thunder turns up, and we've got lots of snow, of course. Just was absolutely brilliant. Of course, it was around March or whatever it said the issue. Now, I can't actually recall when it actually turned up. It's possible it was around Christmas time. I really can't recall whether it's that time. I'm certain the dates are slightly confusing there. And, of course, Thunderer bops the Sandman there. It's obviously a very not particularly great alliance at that point. And I love this scene. This is just great. Where I thought this was going to be, it was going to be private. He has his battle. And on to the next story, Dragon Man story. Really good story as well. I enjoyed that one. Excellent. I didn't know who, of course, Dragon Man was at that point. I hadn't obviously probably seen that story at the point, the earlier story of Dragon Man and obviously Diablo. But you've got there, and this one's John Buscema and Joe Sinnott, the artist there. Mysterious Summons, it says there. And then you've got the next story there. You've got Face It, Action Lover, this is the one. Other than probably the next issue, that this is the one. The Dragon Man again. What a great there. And again, John Buscema and Joe Sinnott, the Eternity Machine. And of course, got some character walking through at this point into the Baxter Building. And on to the next one. This was a good story as well. Thoroughly enjoyed the story. And you've got Rock Around the Cosmos. Very unusual. The Wild When Ones Cometh. Sort of good old 1950s story going back. But of course, there's something slightly a bit beyond that in the storyline. So you've got this there, Medusa, etc. Still obviously in the Fantastic Four. Sue Storm wasn't at that point active. And you've got, of course, this massive, I don't know what on earth, Warhead apparently it was called. I always love these ones, these adverts. And I'm really glad that they include them. The DC Finest ones are obviously just coming out at the moment. they still seem to persist in not including these adverts. And I would love to see that they include the adverts and, of course, the letters pages, if they had them, of course, and the direct currents and all those sort of ones. I don't know why they just don't include at least a few anyway. You don't have to have every single one. But still, I'll just put that down a bit. But you got that storyline, which I thoroughly enjoyed. The world is finished, etc., as always. And what's next? Oh, I'm not going to show you that. That's spoiling the story. It is a good story. And then we're on to the Miracle Man. Of course, Miracle Man was a very, very, very early villain. It was issue FF3, of course. At that point, it was hypnotism even. But now there's a bit more, of course. Conveniently, he meets some Indians and they explain how to do various things. And of course, then his destiny is to rule, as always. That's always the thing. Of course, he blasts things and various arms come out there. And I think he probably even used the same creature. He's obviously got, for all his powers, he still hasn't got much of imagination. He has to use the same monster that he used in the very early issues. And then you've got, of course, more issues now. They're all plunging apparently into eternity. Still got, obviously, the Miracle Man there. And then on to the next story. Next story is Annihilus. Good old Annihilus there. This was issue 140. And I'm not a fan of Annihilus. And I probably think at the time, I recall thinking, you know what? I didn't enjoy this story. I enjoyed all the stories before that. But this one, not a big fan of this. Who was the artist of this one? I can't see. So they did change. They weren't always, obviously, the same artist over and over again. So let's just go through this one. And this one is, still John Buscema. No, and also Embellisher. You've got Embellisher there. Obviously, the inker, obviously. But it's just odd the way that they just include that. But a little bit of an origin story, of course, for Annihilus as well in this one. And then on to the next story, which is the Darkoth, the Death Demon. And, of course, that leads into a Doctor Doom story. No friend beside him. Well, as always, of course, everyone goes off and there's always problems. Never, ever, ever particularly settled. And, of course, no wonder, probably considering all the times that the Thing has been trying to change him back to Ben Grimm, etc., etc. And, of course, Miss Must, the Doctor, I'm Hans Stuttgart. Of course, there's a bit of dubiousness there, of course. On to the Darkoth character, which leads, of course, on to Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom there, and there is actually quite Doctor Doom. Very, very, very tiny Doctor Doom. This time he's got this weapon, the vibro weapon or something, I think it's called. And, of course, it means that I can end the world forever. How many times does he do this? He's always trying to control everyone's minds. Does it ever work? No, of course not. So maybe you think he'd learn a lesson on that one, but no, he always goes for it again and again. Of course, at this point, obviously there, the Human Torch is still wearing red. Because that was the original Human Torch. Obviously, he didn't have a 4 on him, did he? But you got Doctor Doom there. You lost him, idiot. I should have you killed for this. Not a person that I particularly would want to work with most time. He's always getting very angry with anyone that slightly fails in. Oh, and also these ones. I love these Marvel value stamps. Really, really good. This one, Turnak, no, not particularly a story that I can say that I particularly remember particularly well. No use, even my fireballs won't stop him before he crushes me. Don't give up. And of course, they're out. Obviously, there, batting away some sort of abominable snowmen sort of thing, characters. And it looks pretty chilly and cold. Great use, obviously, of lots and lots of white. So you can get over that. And some, let's say, this character here. Not this one is a centre. And the entire planet is doomed. That's always the thing with Fantastic Four. But the Thing goes wild. And you've got Doomsday 200 degrees below. And freeze the entire planet. And then on to the next story, which is, of course, a brilliant classic, giant-sized superstars. I'm not certain what they were intending with this. I think they were intending to be sort of like just a giant-sized book and you had different sets of sort of maybe a team-up book, I don't know. Superstars, really hard to work out. I think that was it. That was the only issue they ever brought out of Superstars, issue 1. Now, I think they're bringing out, and I don't know when it's coming out, a massive giant-sized book. I bought quite a few giant-sized ones. I love them. I loved them at the time. The giant-sized Defenders comes to mind, the giant-sized Fantastic Fours, all those sort of ones. They were just absolutely brilliant. And this one, of course, what a great start. You've got the classic Hulk story, obviously Thing battling and all that sort of stuff. And you can't beat a good old battle between the Thing and the Hulk. And you've got there, Simon's been sleeping in my head. On to the next one. Of course, Thunder turns up as well. I wonder if she would give much of a run with, obviously, the Hulk as well. And certainly probably had that somewhere at this point. But what you have got is the next story, which is this one with Submariner strikes. And, of course, there they should have figured. And poor old Reed's looking buried. And, of course, there's a divorce there. Submariner, really? And off he goes, battling the Submariner at this point. They're going, we're going under. And, of course, you've got Subby in that. Because I think he had some problems. There was some pollution or something caused an issue. So he had to have this so he could actually use it underwater and all those sorts of things. Or was it wherever? He needed this anyway. Certainly for about 10 issues, I think, in Submariner, near the end of his run. That the first or second run, I suppose you could say. And you got the Sandman coming back. And, of course, the Sandman is always bashing away. I think the Sandman would be pretty unbeatable. Even Fantastic Four struggles a bit against Sandman. Of course, the Wizard and, of course, Trapster again back in the story. At this point, we got another, finally, Thunderer battling away against Submariner. I would imagine, he obviously does quite well there. On to the next one, the Great Grimsby. You've got the Watcher turning up in the story. And it's obviously got some historical bits there, though I don't know, that's a bit weird one. I am Tempest, master of the world in which you now exist. And there he obviously looking pretty threatening there. And I guess next scene there's a battle or two. He ages everyone. The usual sort of thing. He's aging the Human Torch at this point, as well as the Thing looking pretty poor at that point. However, on to the next one, which of course is the anniversary, the anniversary? 150th issue. So let's just go to this one. Oh no, it's actually this point, it's 127. This led on to the anniversary or 150th issue. So you've got there the Fantastic Four and the Inhumans. And this one is called Bride and Doom. Bit confusing, could have been Doctor Doom, I guess, but it wasn't. But you got, obviously, then Inhumans turn up and a good opportunity for a bit of violence. And again, Omega turns up, of course, from issue 132. And instead, it turns out to be, sorry, there are spoilers in this, there is good old Ultron. I think Ultron's pretty terrifying at that size. I'm not certain what if he was still using his adamant metal and all that sort of stuff. However, we do have, of course, a wedding to see in that issue as well. Absolutely lovely issue 150, an absolute classic. Then we're on to giant size Fantastic Four, which I really don't remember at all. I was going to say I really enjoyed it. No, I don't remember it at all. It was obviously an issue that passed me by. I didn't buy every single giant size. Sometimes these issues didn't always turn up. And I think this one sort of did actually just pass me by. So you got here, whoever he is, he certainly turns up. The Nuclear Man. So Thunderer, who calls herself a Femizon. Of course, the Femizon. From that story, I think the Savage Tales, issue 1. I assume that's obviously connecting there. But anyway, we got that. And you've also got these good old lovely ads for all the various groupings. I always found that slightly confusing, that one. Special groups. And you've got Daredevil, Hulk, Kid Colt. I mean, I probably even didn't know who Kid Colt was at that point, because I probably never saw those in the shops. But you've also got the Frankenstein, Worlds Unknown, all those sort of things, Jungle Action, Marvel 2 in 1, of course, must have just come out at that point. And then on to, of course, they've got the Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. At this point, obviously, Master of Kung Fu as well as Sons of Tiger. Obviously, that was the black and white ones. Then on to, he's back, he's still going. Worlds in Collision even. Okay. This story was a bit of a continuation of a previous story from Strange Tales. Now, this one, of course, The Man in the Mystery Mask. And so we're just going to, you got there, Reed Richards. The thing is, Reed Richards, again, another spoiler, in the Strange Tales one, I can't remember, I think it was 127, was the Mystery Mask Man. It was a sort of wonderful one where you could combine him battling, a bit silly. However, of course, there is a twist at the end, which I'm not going to spoil. Don't want to spoil that one. And, back to that same play. Well, that's quickly over. Was that it? I think maybe they had it very short. That's very strange. In fact, it was. I think because they had the middle part was the story, the Strange Tales one. So it was actually only about 7 pages original. I guess something happened, the artwork, whatever, there's the usual sort of thing. And you've got Madrox's Multiple Menace. Now, obviously, that's an X-Men character. So you've got that one, the Multiple Menace. And I don't know what this one, obviously, there, walking through the streets and, of course, ripping through the various underground. I'm certain they must get charged an awful lot of money, the Fantastic Four, for all the damages. And just randomly ripping through the doors of a subway would be a bit much, wouldn't it? The art's changed a bit here now. Who was the artist for this one? That definitely looks very different. So that one is, Buscema and Seastone and Sinnott. That is slightly different from the usual. Well, anyway, so we've got that storyline. Of course, the X-Men, etc. turn up. And then we're on to this one, which I loved. Silver Surfer. Brilliant. Battle Royal. Love a good Silver Surfer versus the Fantastic Four. This time to destroy the Fantastic Four, as it says there. And of course, you've got his beloved. I think every time he's always doing that. But of course, it's Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom's involved again. Of course, that's always the way with these stories. And you can see here, the slaves of Doctor Doom. The middle game, as it says there. So that one, Rich Butler at that point. So it did change to him. And of course, you've still got obviously his good old Submariner there. Submariner, of course, enters the fray. And on to the next story, which is, I like that one. Zemu. Again, this was an old one as well, an old character from, I think, Strange Tales 103-ish, 102, 104, or something like that. From the fifth dimension. Actually, I'm surprised that there's a character that didn't turn up more often than Zemu. Obviously, it took a bit of time to sort of work out things. I don't know, can't remember exactly what happened. He obviously lost back in the Strange Tales story. And you got here the Thunderhorn. And of course, good old the Inhumans as well as are involved in the story. And on to the next story, where we got Archon the Annihilator. Good old Archon the Annihilator from the Avengers story, around about issue 74, 75, I believe. Of course, having he's throwing his lightning or whatever it is, and he's, of course, a good opportunity for a good alternate universe, other worlds storyline there. Oh, and then we're back to the story with the World War there. A good Tyrannosaurus Rex involved in the story. The Thing fights alone. And we got and he's obviously having a bit of a problem. I would imagine the Thing could easily beat a Tyrannosaurus Rex. I just suspect that. And you've got Archon. And also, of course, you've got that other story again, the Zemu story as well. So that obviously carried on for a few issues. I always felt that that was a possible thing they could have done. They could have had a storyline with her as his girlfriend. Obviously, Johnny Storm's girlfriend. I think she must have been waiting around for ages thinking, is Johnny Storm ever going to come back? But in this case, he does. And then we've got this character on. Yes, bit of obviously space battle there with a guy that's obviously ice hockey. Victory in hyperspace, as it says there. I'm not certain what he's holding there. It looks like a film or something. However, that is it. That's all the stories, all the way through. Sorry for the spoilers. But what it does include in the back, which is really nice, and this is this one, yep. Of course, it includes the cover. And I think this is one of the things I really like about these omnibuses. They are including these. I'm surprised they didn't include a few more, but still, smaller ones as well. Maybe they haven't reprinted any of these issues that are in here, but I would have thought some were. But anyway, Fantastic Four, brilliant. Of course, The Wedding, that's from the annual number 3. And this is, of course, the cover's slightly different. Of course, Doctor Doom charging into the room, since Doctor Doom was really behind it. Also, I love that Fat Kang is there looking very odd because we never normally see Kang's face like that. Why did they draw that? And, of course, the Super Skrull. You've also got the Executioner and Red Skull and, obviously, Submariner. I'm not even certain Submariner was in it in the original. Still. I love the way I always do this on the covers. They always seem to mess them up a bit. And also it includes the original Human Torch returns, and that was, of course, from issue 4, the annual 4. But then we got the Foom, which I really, really love. This was Foom, I think, number 1. Foom number 1. And it's great. I just think it's really good that they've included these, because I love the pictures that they include. There's, and obviously the article as well, always great. You can see all the various covers there. So War is Hell, Daredevil, Black Widow. Must have been around issue 90 or 95, that sort of thing. And you've got that lovely Fantastic Four. I mean, that's just really nice to see it in that slightly odd format. The cover of the first issue. Now, That really isn't the cover of the first issue particularly, but it's obviously been recoloured and changed and tweaked. When Titans Clash. And of course you've got this lovely index, which I always just love. It's got the origin of the Fantastic Four, and then you've got obviously the Fantastic Four meet the Mole Man. In fact, the Scrolls from Outer Space, the Menace of the Miracle Man, the Coming of Submariner, Prisoner of Doc Doom, and so on. Those great issues though back then. And also you've got the Fantastic Four annuals there. When annuals were really good annuals. I love those annuals. They were the best. Issue number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, all absolutely brilliant. Sadly, after that, sort of went a bit. Of course, they did have a few later with the giant size and things. But also, you've got this one as well, which is, of course, a game there. Certain Doctor Doom can work it out. And also, obviously, one single page there. And as well, obviously, this one, I think, is the back cover as well, for one. Quotations from Chairman Doom. They got a lot of these ones. But also, you've got the Marvel Treasury Edition, which is really good. I love that one. That's issue 2 of the Treasury Edition. And these adverts. And I'm going to put this out. I think that Comic Abraham Arts, I would love to see them bring out a book of all these sort of adverts. The whole book, maybe 300 pages, 250 pages of all these adverts that are dotted throughout all the Marvel comics in the 60s and 70s and 80s, etc. It would be brilliant to see these ones. Just love looking at these lovely adverts. And you can see them obviously occasionally in the back of omnibuses. So I would love to see something like that. If they're thinking about a new sort of another volume to come out, that would be one that I would definitely love. And you can see there obviously another inked page there. And also a bit more of inked pages. And that is it. Actually, saying that, another one that I would love to see from Abraham Comic Arts. They bring out quite a few absolutely brilliant books. The Calendar one was superb. But I would love to see a collection of Foom. I somehow suspect that we will never see an omnibus of Foom. A Foom omnibus. Might happen. I don't know. But I mean, there was only 20 or so Foom issues. I guess they could bring out an omnibus. It would be probably a thinnish 300, 400 page omnibus collection. That would be brilliant. But if not, maybe Abraham's Comics Art. They could do that. It would be superb because they keep putting them in the back of all these omnibuses, but they're all over the place. So they're not all sort of a complete run, so you can feel or see the entire history of the Foom magazine. And it would be nice, obviously, lots of other things I could just think of for that sort of thing as well. That would be great. Marvel's checklists and things, that would be a nice one as well. However, back to this. Absolutely brilliant book. I'm really pleased I picked this up. Took a while to come. I don't know what actually happened this time. It was weird. I ordered it ages ago. And then it sort of drifted into I don't know where. I mean, it did arrive on time, as they said, but I thought, why is it taking so long? It's very weird. I think I don't know. I don't know where it went. I was trying to work out the tracking for all those sort of things, but it did finally come, and I'm really pleased I've got it now. Just a great collection of these comics that I started my first introduction to Marvel. So it's just really nice to see these. I don't know why they always do that. Just one thing I've noticed here, when you look at that, you see they've got that cover. Now, maybe it is the black. Maybe that's probably because it's black. It must be black. It just makes it bit, it looks like it's just dipped down a bit. I know it isn't, but when you look at it and you think, slightly dipped down. No, it isn't. Obviously, that is all correctly aligned. But what a brilliant book. And it's a really quite large chunk book and lots of great stories. Really a good 70 or 80% great stories. There's a few duff stories I think that I've really never liked, particularly at the time. And there's a few here that I don't think I've actually ever read. So I'm looking forward to, that's definitely the giant size ones. Certainly the issue 2 and probably 3 and 4, I think those ones. The Multiple Man, don't particularly remember ever seeing it. Maybe read it once, quite a while back. But this is great. Really pleased. I think you'll find it a very interesting volume to get. And also, they've got volume 6 coming out, hopefully, sometime about June next year, 2025. So that'll be great. And then now, obviously, then I assume volume 7, volume 8, whatever. Of course, there's Epic collections. The overlap, I don't know particularly. I haven't looked. So if you've got them, of course, the Epics, you might find issues with overlaps. I don't know. So I would suggest obviously checking that out maybe as well. Anyway, hope you found this of interest. And will you be getting this book? Please put in the comments below if you've got intention to pick this one up, or you're going to skip it. Because, of course, at this point, I think there's a fair amount of these omnibus editions out of all these sort of ones. And it probably, if you're a collector of silver sort of age, bronze age, you may be getting to the point where you think it's reaching that. Do I really want to continue buying all the volumes? Of course, if you really love the Fantastic Four, super love the Fantastic Four, you're going to get volume 6, I'm quite certain. But there is a time, of course, there's cut-offs for me for certain volumes. So I don't know. So are you going to continue with these? And also, are you interested in the other omnibus collections that are coming up? There's a lovely 1965 one. That's on my list. And also the giant size book as well. Sorry, I've got a cough out. I think everyone's got coughs and colds at the moment. I certainly had one for the last couple of weeks. That's why I haven't been putting ones on recently. I've just been sort of sniffling and coughing, and so finally got around to doing some videos. Fantastic Four Omnibus Volume 6.